Everybody, what's going on? So today in this video we're going to talk about a few things real quick. So if you don't know what Doc's Lure Company is, Doc's Lure Company is a company that I own and operate by myself. I love doing it. I love making baits, especially being able to go make a bait, go out, catch a fish on it. It's a lot of fun. It gives you a little bit more of, I guess, a sense of pride, I guess you could say, than just going out and buying a bunch of soft plastics and using them and catching fish. It gives you a little bit more of a good feeling that you made the bait, you made the mold, you made the bait, and then you went out and caught fish. So today we're going to talk about the worms, some of the worms that I make here. I have the 8-inch, the little 4-inch worm, and the dragon worm. So first we're going to talk about a couple colors. These are my two favorite colors. They've just caught more fish for me this year. The other color, if I had to pick another color, would be the black. This one here is the black, blue, silver. The black, blue, silver has caught some fish for me as well, but the other two are the ones that I've caught more fish on this year. First color is called root beer. Now this color here is a very natural, kind of a greenish brown color. I'm hoping the camera will pick it up good of how it looks. It's a very nice greenish brown color. I love this thing on a Texas rig. Another way that I like rigging these color baits is on drop shots. I love a natural brown green colored worm like this one right here on a drop shot. I've caught a lot of fish on using greenish brown worms on drop shots. This here is the 8-inch slammer worm. You guys have heard me talk about that a ton. It's just one of my favorite baits that I make. I've caught a bunch of fish on it. I've caught multiple 4-pounders. I think that those worms there are the only bait that I've actually caught 4-pounders on this year. Those are the only baits I can get the better bites with, and they get a lot of bites too. They don't just get big ones, they get all of them. That's what I love about them. So we're going to talk about the packaging and the prices as well. So this here is called the Doc's Lure Company Green Pumpkin Magic Ultra Finesse Worm. So I'll go ahead and pull out one of these here. These are very good drop shot baits. I've actually caught some bluegill using these for bass, but I've caught bluegill with them. They are just an awesome little finesse worm. If you're ever out and you're throwing bigger baits and you're just not getting bites and you want to just catch a full, if you're out in a tournament, these baits here are perfect for that because you can go out, you can take one of these, put it on a small jig head as a wacky worm or as a little miniature shaky head, or if you want to, you can just use a normal little wacky worm hook or a drop shot, and you can fill a limit really quickly on these baits. These things have a ton of action in the water. I've caught bass and bluegill on these. I've had a ton of bites from big bass. I've caught some big bass on these. I've caught some 3.5-pounders on these. Now the original bait that I had of this, I made the mold a long time ago. It's actually one of the first molds I ever made, but I kind of lost it, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie, I actually lost it because I wasn't making baits. I actually had molds back in early 2017, back in like July, but I didn't start making baits real heavy until about November, and that's when I came up with the company. So I actually had this mold for a while, and I kind of lost it. And then when I came out with the slammer worm and the other finesse worm that I have, it's a little 6-inch worm. I don't have any of those here with me, but when I came out with those, I actually found the mold for this. So I actually had this, and I've caught some 4-pounders on these. I used to make a color, but the colors just didn't work out. They were very inconsistent. It was called Morning Dawn. And I actually had those worms in that color, and I caught a 4-pounder on it. But the green pumpkin works way better than that Morning Dawn used to. I've caught a lot of fish on this green pumpkin. This here is called Green Pumpkin Magic. You can order if you are paying online or whatever, even if you're just a local person that lives around here. You can also get different flakes. There's red, silver, and blue flake. You can get a little bit of less of each or whatever. The only thing is if you don't want glitter in them, it does cost $1 more, just because I usually, like this here is from stock that I had. I made a couple of different packages of these extra, and I already had glitter in them. But if you don't want glitter in the baits, it will be $1 extra, and mainly the dollar will probably be shipping. Honestly, I'll probably just throw that into shipping because it's not that much. Also, before we get into anything else, the payment on these, you can do it a couple different ways. You can either send in the money to me, and if you want to do that, you'll have to comment down below or let me know via Facebook. You can comment on one of my pictures or something, and I will let you know where you can send the money. All these baits that I make are $4. It doesn't matter what type. The only thing that is different on each bait is the amount. Like these finesse worms, these ultra finesse worms, there's 10 in a pack, and the slammer worm, there is 6 in a pack. There's a little bit of a difference because of the amount of plastic that it takes to make the each bait. So all the baits are $4, whether you're buying these these big slammer worms, or if you're buying the little drop shot minnows. Whatever you're buying, they're $4. Just the amount is different. These little drop shot minnows are 10 in a pack, and the finesse worms are also 10 in a pack. But the bigger baits like this here and the 10-inch worm are 6 in a pack. So we'll go ahead and start talking about other things. So this here is a really cool worm. It's something I don't think I've ever seen from another company. These here are the dragon worm. Now what I like about these worms is it's a little bit different from other baits in the fact that it doesn't have a kicking tail, but the tail does kind of move a little bit when you're dragging it across the bottom. And it looks pretty cool. What I think that it does, or what I like about it, is that it has ribs on one side instead of both sides. And that kind of gives it a little bit of a different action in the water. It kind of gives it more of a snaking little action to it. And if you look, this part right here is pretty thick. It's a little bit thicker than like the head and the rest of the body. And what that does is it does give it a little bit of a kicking to it. And it also has a pointed tail, and that gives it a little bit of a different look in the water as well. You look at your typical Senko, it's just a round stick bait. This here has a flat side to it, and it has that pointed tail, which makes it look a little bit different from your average bait. If you go out and you talk to a bunch of people, they'll say stick worms or finesse worms, but nobody throws baits that look like this. This one here is a little bit of a different variation of some other baits that I've seen, and that's why I really like it. It looks different, it acts different in the water, and that's what I like. This thing works awesome on a drop shot. It also works perfectly on a shaky head. That's one of my personal favorite ways to rig this bait. Texas rigs also work well, and another rig that is really good with these is just your typical wacky rig. Another rig that I haven't tried a whole lot, I don't fish it a whole lot because I don't have the right equipment to use it, is a what they call a Nico rig, and that's basically where you put a nail weight in the head of the worm, and then you put your hook in the middle of the worm like you would a wacky rig, and you fish it very slowly on the bottom. I have fished it a little bit with these worms here, and they do work. I actually caught a fish on it, but I didn't get it on camera because I wasn't filming because it was raining, so that's why. But these here come 6 in a pack, and this color here is called Green Pumpkin Magic. Green Pumpkin Magic is green pumpkin, red, blue, and silver flake. Personally, I like the option of having different flakes in it. I mean, if you want different flakes, you can just let me know. Like I said, it'll be $1 more. Red flake, silver flake, and blue flake. Something I don't believe I've ever seen from like the major companies is where you can pick different flakes in it just for a little bit more. That's what I really like about making my own baits and selling them. Is it's a little bit different from other places. Like if somebody wanted to get green pumpkin only, no flakes in it, I've had people ask me for that, and they've caught fish. My uncle took some black 10-inch slammer worms, and they had no flake in them or nothing, just plain straight black. And he took it out and cast it out weightless, was letting it sink, started talking to his son, and all of a sudden he looked back and his line was about 6 foot the other way. And they just catch fish. So that's what I really like, is you can pick what kind of flake you want in them. So here is the slammer worm. This here is the 8-inch slammer worm. This here is Green Pumpkin Magic color. And I'll go ahead and pull one of these out and show it to you. So here it is right here. freshly out of the package, never been used, never been put a hook through or anything, fresh out of the package. Perfect bait for any type of fishing. If you're out and you're at a pond where you may have never been before, or if you're at a lake that you've never been before, take these worms, put them on Texas rig, either 1/4 ounce or 1/2 ounce weight. Don't go with an 1/8 ounce. You can, if you want to, maybe if there's a lot of grass, you can go with a lighter weight. I personally just use a 1/4 or a 1/2. Texas rig it, 4/0 EWG, cast it out, just sit there and move it real slow on the bottom, especially in the summertime. You can get some big bites and you can get a lot of bites on these baits. So there's the green pumpkin. You can see the difference in color between the green pumpkin and the root beer. The green pumpkin is more of a darker green, and the root beer is more of a lighter green and brown. Like I said, this is Green Pumpkin Magic. It's got the red, blue, and silver flake in it. So yeah, something that I personally, now this is just something that I've done and I've had some success with, is when I make these baits, I can make them for myself. You know, I can just make a few and go fishing with them. Something that I do, just because it gives the fish a little bit something different to see, is I'll put a little bit extra silver flake, or I'll just put straight only silver flake, because something I've never seen before is baits that just have silver flake, especially like, you know, your big worms like silver or like green pumpkin, you know, black and blue, or like a natural color. I've never seen a company have just silver flake in a bait. It's always like red or blue or black or whatever. I like the silver flake in them. So make sure you guys pick up some of these if you guys want to catch some fish. I just catch fish on these all the time. Like I said a couple videos ago, me and my cousin and my uncle went out fishing. We were chucking bluegill heads and stuff, waiting for catfish, and the bass were just not biting. We could not catch a bass for nothing on anything. We were throwing chatterbaits, crankbaits, spinnerbaits, all kinds of stuff. I finally was like, okay, I'm going to stick with this root beer colored slammer worm, and Texas rigged it, cast it out there, and the only bass that we caught, anybody caught, all three of us, the only bass that we was able to catch, I caught it on that, because it was just the only thing I could get bites on. So they catch fish, and they can outfish a lot of things. I've used 8-inch worms and outfished live worms before, just because they want a bigger bait that looks good in the water. So if you do want to pick some of these up, you can either send the money to me, or I can let me know if you want to do the PayPal way. I can show you guys the email where you can PayPal the money to me, and I will send out your baits. You can tell me where to send them after that. If you do choose to send the baits to me, I will wait, because I don't want to get scammed out of baits, because sometimes that does happen. I don't want it to happen to me. It's happened, something kind of like that has happened before, and I don't want it to happen again, where somebody said they were going to send money, and I went to send baits, and they never sent me money, and they ended up getting my baits. So if you do send money to me through mail, let me know when you send it, and when it gets here, I will send it out probably the same day or the next day. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a bunch of these baits, probably all 3 of the baits that I just showed you, and some more probably. So help me get to 1,000, and I will definitely be doing a big giveaway. Thank you guys for watching once again. Bye.